Welcome to Digital Hospitality. I'm your host, Shawn Walchef. This is a Cali BBQ Media production. We are here coming to you from the JW Marriott in Austin, Texas, at the Restaurant Transformation Festival, hosted by Restaurant 365. And I have both Marios, the Padrino family from Padrinos Restaurants, South Florida. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
I am very excited to learn about, so all business is family business, but you guys are really family business. I grew up in my restaurant. My grandfather, we had a breakfast concept, and when I was 13 years old, I was bussing tables and washing dishes, and I hated it. To be honest with you. My grandfather was Bulgarian. He was old school. He said that on the weekends I was going to work, and I'm so grateful that he did that for me, because now I understand the value of work, but more importantly, the value of hospitality. Tell me a little bit about the family story.
Yeah, go for it.
I'll start with that one. Actually, it's very similar. And my parents started this in 1976. They came from Cuba in 1968. My mother and my dad in 72. And we've started the business in 1976. My dad was a businessman in Cuba, basically grocery stores. But we had an opportunity to open up a restaurant, and they've never done it, but that's how we got started. And I've been working with them since that time when I was 15. So it's been all that long. I mean, my kids now are involved in it, so it's third generation. And it's funny that you said it, because it's the only thing I've ever done. And when I got into it full time for the first time, I was 21, I said it to people. I loved it for the first 3 months because I'm the boss. And then I hated it for the next 10 years because it was just like a struggle. I mean, a lot of people think you do this, you're your own boss and it's easy, but you really are a slave to the business, and that's how it was for the first 10 years. But then something happened that just changed me completely. And that's how we're here today, because I really just love the business. And again, and just so you know, initially I'm in the business not because I had a passion for it, but because I saw my parents' hard work, and I didn't want that to go to waste. I mean, they slept at the restaurant many times because it was just easier to stay there than, drive far and come back. So because of their hard work is what motivated me to stay in the business. And then, like I said, grew up in it, had a great change. The kids, that's all they know. I mean, my kids, which are adults already, and I'm very blessed that it's third generation, and they really are adding to it. One of the things that I love about this family is that every generation has been able to add to what the prior generation did without erasing what the prior generation did. We honor the past, but we improve on it. So that's I'm very proud.
What was the magic that happened after 10 years?
Just a perspective, man. Just a perspective. Anything in life, honestly, I used to, what happens in the restaurant business. Every Friday, something happens. Nothing happens on a Monday through, it's only Friday nights or Saturdays, okay?
Of course.
And that used to just drive me nuts, okay? The AC then broke down Saturday night, okay? So I used to just couldn't stand all that stuff. And I said, what am I doing wrong that all these things are happening? And then I realized that it wasn't I was doing anything wrong. It's just the way the business is. And I had just a great change of perspective. I started listening to some speakers like Zig Ziglar back in the day, motivational speaker. And ultimately, it all ends up to how you think.
Yes.
So when you change, everything changed. Because ironically, the things that used to happen for 10 years that I disliked, when I had that change, they stopped happening.
Wow.
So it was and that's why, the excitement of it was just totally different. And we've had great, mom's recipes, so a great reputation. And by God's grace, we've been able to, like I said, improve on that. But the great change happened when Mario changed. That was the deal.
Yeah, I think, that's one of the reasons we put on this show is it's so hard in the hospitality business. Our goal is to help everyone. We want to help our team. We want to help our community. We want to help our village, help our partners. Very rarely do we help ourselves. And we realize that, in order to grow, we have to be uncomfortable. We have to ask for help. We have to do all these things that, as men especially, we think that I'm weak or I'm lazy for doing that, for listening to a motivational speaker like Zig Ziglar. And, for me, getting to the point where I could actually get out of my restaurants and come and do media like this, I had to have a great team.
Yeah.
I had to be able to trust people and give away control.
And that's a big one right there. And I think for a lot of us who start a business, your family business.
Can't work without us, right?
Yeah.
How can it work without
you need people that you could trust. And that's, for many of us, we are not willing to do that because we think we have to do it all.
Correct.
We think we're the only ones who know how to do it.
Yeah.
And it's only when you really get to that point that you can trust people that you could really grow. And that's a big one for a lot of us.
When did you trust him?
Oh, wow. Well, the thing is, he's been with us for how long already? 10, 12? I forget how long.
Yeah, 13 years.
13. Okay, I got
Have
it
you
wrong.
worked
I
any
know it was a
other job?
while.
No, well, I mean, odd little jobs, but full time, no. This has been it. I mean, I originally he never pushed this on me or my siblings.
How many siblings?
I've got older sister and younger brother.
They both work in the business?
They worked at they did some other things prior to, but they've been back with us. But he never pushed it on us. I went to school. I studied accounting because I figured I could get any job. Accountants, you're going to get a job. So I figured I'd work somewhere. I'm charismatic. I'll probably do something. I'll get, I'll maybe move up.
The charismatic accountant?
I could probably move up. But then I was not very far along in the school, and I thought, no, I don't want to do this. And then again, like what he had said, that he saw the older generations, the hard work they did. I saw now 2 generations in front of me, and the restaurants. It's not just even my family; it's all the good people that have worked at the restaurants, all the work that they did. If I don't do it, what's going to happen? And I wanted to give back, and it's not like a weird way. I really wanted to give back and help this thing grow. And I looked at the restaurants almost like they're almost like not so much. They were like siblings, right? Because I grew up with them. So it's like this is part of the family, the entity itself. So for me to go back in it, I just kind of put my head down and studied purely for the restaurants, how we're going to grow this thing. And so I did not work somewhere else. But it's been restaurants for me. Yeah.
Bring us to the conversation.
The conversation.
The torch, passing of the torch. This is a big conversation.
That is interesting.
I think it's been a lot of conversations. It's been, that's another thing, right? I think I've had the privilege of growing up with now 2 generations of business owners. Yep. So it's been this constant, all the conversations have been from a business owner perspective. So it's been a grooming without a push. Never a force.
I think, and if I may, because the one thing I know, the conversations that I know were made is that, again, there's a lot of work and effort that has been put into getting to this point. Imagine that you could start with something that's already built as opposed to start from scratch. Yeah. And I think that was kind of the conversation. And I told the 3 of them, look, I wanted them to work somewhere else initially because if they were to come back, that they would have an experience outside of just us. Yeah. He wanted to come in right from the beginning. But I really think the conversation, that's why I appreciate very much their mindset, because I think initially they did, again, all of them, I think initially they came over because they did want to continue the work that was established before. They didn't want that to go to waste, okay? And but again, it wasn't like, it was just very, very organic. I mean, it was just in the process. I'm not sure. I mean, just talking very naturally. I mean, so it was never like, okay, you got to do this or this is the time. It's very interesting how that worked out.
The results are in. National Restaurant Association show, Kyle and Sarah and myself, we were at the Davos sales tax booth, and we were polling restaurant owners on the floor. This was a very unscientific poll, but the results are resounding. Restaurant owners do not like sales tax. Nobody likes sales tax. Doesn't matter what business owner you are, small business, big business. Davo automates the sales tax process. We are so grateful that Davo is the sponsor of this show. They automate sales tax at our Cali barbecue restaurants. It is $50 a month. It integrates with all the major point of sale partners, including Toast. So if you want to sleep at night, if you want to not worry about sales tax, go to Davo, check them out, Davo Sales Tax. Let us know how they're helping automate your sales tax in your restaurant so that we can share your Davo story on Digital Hospitality. How did you come to the decision because you're a young man.
Yeah.
You still have I don't see you stopping anytime soon.
Very interesting. You know what happened? I had a very unusual scenario. My parents gave me the restaurant. This is why I'm very, very unusual. Okay. My parents literally, I was the owner of that restaurant that they started when I was like 24. So basically they made me the owner. So my parents gave me my inheritance before they died.
Wow.
And I guess that was in my mind.
Another thing, I don't know if you mentioned it, that your father, my grandfather, he came over late to the States. He started the restaurant
when he was 62. My dad started 62. 62 years old.
Amazing.
He started first one. Okay, so what happened at that point is he was already older, so he was retired, and I was working with mom. Okay, but again, that stuck to me, and I guess it was a model that they didn't say you got to do this, but to me, I wanted them to have ownership while they were young.
It's
not
powerful.
Wait till they were young.
Very powerful. I mean, it's the antithesis of what most people do, not just in the United States, just globally. But I give you a lot of credit for doing that, because it's not like you're giving it to him and saying, I'm leaving. No, you're here to support, but you're 100%, putting the weight of the responsibility, saying, I back you. I 100% back you. I'm not going anywhere, but I want you to make the decisions, and I'm here for you.
And that's exactly, that was the mindset.
You know, it is, because I know the conversation kind of, I don't know at what point it kind of switched with me when I realized he wants me to do it's not like he wants me to take ownership, right? And taking ownership means add value to this. Not just, there is no babysitting of it. No, go move it, dude, go for it. Because I remember we went to some conference, I think when I was early on, and I heard the people speaking, and I thought, wow, it's really good. And then I told him, man, we should be doing this, we should be doing this. And he said, okay.
Do it.
All right.
Do it.
Yeah. And so that's why now you hear these things, and there's no more we should. No, it's me. Let's go. Let's move. So but that's been it really was.
And just so you know, obviously, because you're watching them and your kids grow and learn. And you have more and more confidence. But something happened about a year ago, which was amazing, because when we opened up the new restaurants, which they were the ones involved in it, it's really what it showed the most to me, their capabilities and their all-in attitude when we were in the process of opening it. And then when we opened up this last one, well, it was even prior to this last one that we did, something happened to me that I had, when I say 100% confidence in them that I'm turning this over. Before that, I had a good amount of confidence, but I would say a good chunk, but not 100%.
Sure.
And something happened just by observing them that I knew this is good. I mean, this restaurant is better off in their hands. Obviously, I'm still around. I'm the sounding board, and I'm there. But their insights and what they're doing, and they've proved it. So it's been very gratifying, honestly.
Something else, you can only. You can't control what's around, like my experience. I'm third generation, right? That has the benefits and it also has the downside of, I can't say that I lived the starting up of the business. Because to say that we open up a restaurant now in South Florida, we have 5. So to say we open up a 6th, it's not the same thing as saying you start a brand and everything right from the beginning. But, it's interesting looking back how COVID sucked, obviously, for the restaurant world. And then after COVID, when you had, you don't have you have crazy labor shortages, insane volume, it kind of created this weird, it threw you into some mix where you're kind of starting over again. You have to really relearn what's important, relearn all the granular aspects of the business to survive. So it kind of, now looking back on it, again, I'm not comparing that to starting a business, but it kind of, gave me and my sibling just, the kick in the butt where you got to all right.
You question everything.
Yeah.
All of it.
Really get good at what you're doing. There's no coasting. You really have to know, what do we know? It's because, you survive and you got to survive. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For you travel all the way from South Florida to Austin, Texas to come to this event. Why was it important to come to a Restaurant 365 event?
There was always a desire in me to improve and learn. And obviously, we've been using 365 for 5 years, and Mario Jr. is the one who was the one that kind of initiated to do this, but it was the mindset that we want to continue to learn. I mean, 365 is a beast of of a system. I mean,
Sure.
you could just pretty much do anything with it. And obviously, there's stuff that we still haven't figured out, and that's the reason, just to maximize that wonderful beast.
Yeah, no. My main thing, again, because we are in a family business, right? Family-owned business. The big fear with me is always not knowing what I don't know. We don't have the big corporate bunch of,
Sure.
So with 365, it's the same thing, right? This is an enormous system, and then maybe there's more things about it that I'm not even aware of. So that's why just being aware. I don't want to have the blind spots. I want to just, what else can we know? Learn about this thing.
That's awesome. So every single week on Wednesday and on Friday on the social audio app Clubhouse, we invite you, the listener, the person that's watching this video, to come on stage, share your story, tell us what you're building. If you're in sales, if you're in marketing, if you're a content creator, if you're a restaurant owner, we have a micro community. It's a way for us to make this podcast come to life. So please join us Wednesday, Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. We'll put a link in the show notes. How can people connect with you? Are you on LinkedIn?
I am on LinkedIn.
Are you publishing content on LinkedIn?
I am not publishing content, but I've got my sister does all of that. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But you're going to be publishing more thanks to this podcast. You heard it here. Are you on LinkedIn?
I'm not. I'm an old man for this
Padrinos
stuff,
is on
right?
LinkedIn.
Padrinos is.
Look,
That's
you got the wrong
that's
two.
right. You're talking to the. Yeah, there's other. The other ones.
The sister's on
The
it.
sister's
Yeah.
the one that's on
This
it.
is a shout out to the sister. What's her name?
Laura.
Laura, great work, Laura. Let's make sure that we get more content for more of the family. What's so important, it doesn't matter how big you are, if you're Restaurant 365, if you're any of these huge companies, everyone's story matters. Yeah. Your father's story, your grandfather, all of this stuff happens, and you don't know where on earth somebody will listen to it and it will help them move their business forward. So I'm grateful that you guys came on the show today.
Thank you for having us.
I look forward to hopefully coming to visit you one day in South Florida. If you ever make it to San Diego, you have some barbecue, you got to come to our barbecue restaurants. Please come and enjoy. But thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Restaurant 365, and we'll catch you guys next week.